Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Liz, and today I will be going over how to write a resume for college students in 2020. So if you're new here, I'm Liz, and I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and a Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics last year. And throughout college, I went through the process of applying to different jobs, different internships, and ultimately I decided to apply to graduate school. And throughout all 4 years, I adopted, changed, modified, transformed my resume into what it is today, and I thought I would share with you some tips on how to write a very strong resume. So on my channel, I have different advice videos for college students. I have a video on how to survive online school. I also have a video on why you should consider applying to graduate school, and I will definitely link those in the description box below if you are interested. But today I thought I would do the resume video because it can be applied to students in high school, students in college, or even students that might not have an educational background. It's very important to know how to write a strong resume, especially if you are going to apply for jobs or for different things that you might need to prove your skill set. So the resume acts as a one-page synopsis of your achievements, your skills, and what you bring to the table for a future employer or a future school. So with that, I thought if you did consider wanting to apply to graduate school, this is a part of the graduate school application, so that will definitely be helpful to you as well. So with that, if you want to improve your resume, just keep watching. So I divided up my resume into 6 parts, and I will be going over those with you today. So the 6 parts of my resume include the header, education, professional experience, academic experience, leadership and extracurricular activities, and technical skills. So those are the 6 parts I will be going through. So the first part is the header. So at the top of my resume, I have my name, and then I have my contact information, which I have now narrowed down to just my email address. I used to put my phone number in my email address, but right now the only phone number I have is my personal cell phone number. So I'd rather, if they need to contact me via phone, they can just email me at my email address, and then later, if I need to, I can give them my number. But so far, just make sure you have some sort of contact information for where your application is going if they need to contact you. So the second part of my resume is the education. So for this part, I wrote where I go to school if I'm currently in school, or where I have gone in the past. So throughout college, I had my school name and then the expected year of graduation. So if you're still in school, you can still have, that school that you're at. So you could say that you're attending it presently, but I think what they want to see is your expected year to graduate, because depending on what you're applying to, like say you're applying for an internship. Now, a lot of internships lead to full-time positions. So if you say the expected year that you will graduate, it gives them an idea of, oh, if we hire this student, the following year they'll be graduated and they could work for us full-time. And also, depending on the year of your education, they may be looking for people that are juniors or seniors, or maybe they'll be more open to freshmen or sophomores in college. It really just depends. So I have the school listed, and then I also have my major, and then if you have a minor or a specific area of study that you have, and then the dates. Now, when it comes to GPA, for me, I don't know if my GPA really impacted my job industry, because so I was a double major in math and computer science, and I knew I was going to pursue a career as a software engineer, or I was going to go on to further education. The STEM industry, the STEM field, it might not be as crucial to have a high GPA. Now for business students, since there's a lot more business majors than computer science majors, it might differentiate you a little bit more if you do have a strong GPA, and definitely include that on your resume if you think it will differentiate you. Now, if your GPA isn't something that you feel super strong about, then don't put it on your resume, and it's not a big deal. If whoever you're sending your resume to wants that information, they can always request it. So just weigh if you think it'll benefit you or if you think it won't. And if you're questioning it a lot, I would look up the place you're sending your resume, the application or the job description, and you can search what is the average GPA of who gets hired here, or what is the average GPA of who gets accepted into medical school, or something like that, depending on what you will send your resume to. I also listed in the education section relevant courses. So this is catered to whatever I'm applying to. So for me, I was applying to software engineering internships, and so I had courses like mobile application development and data structures and algorithms and automata and a lot of the higher level courses in my degree program, so that these potential employers would see that I've had basically a long period of time of learning and coding in these different topics, so that they would know, okay, she has experience in these things and that's exactly what we're looking for. And I usually would cater that toward, what I was applying to. So if I had been considering applying to a data science position, then maybe I would have included some more of the mathematics courses. Or if I was considering a job to be an animator, like in film animation, I could include that I took Calculus 3, which does a lot of modeling. So those things are something to consider. You don't want to put these random little, prerequisite courses if they're not super relevant to what you're applying to. So keep that in mind. Now, the third section of my resume is my professional experience, and this is probably the most significant part of my resume when it came to applying for jobs. I started the top of my professional experience usually with whatever my current job was, or whatever the job was that was most similar to what I was thinking of applying to, or the strongest job that I had that I thought made me look good as an applicant. So what I would have on the left hand side, the first thing under professional experience, I would have the title of the position that I held, as well as the organization that I worked for. And then on the far right, justified, I would have the dates. Those specific dates are helpful in, the professionalism of your resume, and also in clarifying that, if you had 5 things that are professional experience and no dates, does this person work all 5 of these things at once? If so, maybe they can't, add another job. So it's really helpful to have some specificity in these different parts of your resume. The other part that I had with my professional experiences, whether it was for a software engineering internship, or in another case, I was a research intern. So I did research for my school, but because it was in a professional setting where I did earn some money from my research, I had that under professional experience because there was a written contract and expectations involved. And then with having those titles and then the dates that I performed or was in these roles, I would have 1 to 2 bullet points with strong action verbs that explained what I did. So as a summer research intern, I could say I coded a program which visualized the animation of 4-dimensional objects. Or, you can use different action verbs. Implement, you can say I implemented, or I designed, or I led, or I animated, I coded, I engineered. Obviously, from my STEM background, a lot of my action verbs pertain to coding and computer science, but you can always look up action verbs for your specific major. It's always good to say you organized, or you managed, or you helped with, because those will definitely stay strong. And I know for the online applications, when there's abundances of applications, a lot of the resumes are looked through with algorithms that search for specific words. So these words could be specific skills and courses, or they could be specific action verbs which make your resume stand out. So it's good to have some unique and strong words which represent what you worked on for your professional experience. So instead of just listing your job title, you could say, you know, something impactful. I used to debate whether I would put on my resume that I used to be a gymnastics coach or not, but I thought that it kind of added something to me as a unique individual that maybe some people in the computer science community didn't have. So I would put that I was a gymnastics coach, and I said that I was able to manage different levels of activity with different kinds of gymnasts and children. And then I also said that I was able to communicate effectively with adults and make sure that they were up to date on the progress of their child and that they felt that this was a healthy, safe, and beneficial environment for them. So you can have different kinds of areas. I tried to have, you know, software engineer internship that I would touch on, or, you know, maybe I had my research at my school. Maybe you have a tutoring position, or maybe you have a grading position at your school that you can talk about. And I know this stuff builds. Like, if you're a freshman, it's okay if you don't have a job. It's okay, you have time. And there's other ways to find these experiences, but I found that having this as probably the main body of my resume helped me out a lot. With that, going on to the next portion of my resume, my academic achievements. So when it comes to academic achievements, these could involve clubs that you have participated in on your college campus, or it could be different awards that you've applied for and gotten. So I know depending on your GPA, you might get first honors or second honors, and those are, you know, those are legitimate achievements that you should be proud of because it separates you from other people in your school. I think people, you know, sometimes they put too much pressure on themselves to have a perfect GPA, and you don't realize there's a lot of people that, one, don't get to college, and two, they don't make it through college. So just being able to have like a 3.0 GPA is impressive, but anything beyond that, you know, you distinguishes yourself, and it can lead you to get awards like first honors or second honors, and then later magna cum laude and summa cum laude. So those will distinguish you in your graduating class. And yes, ideally work hard in your classes and you'll be able to get better grades, but at the same time, you are not just your grades. It's just one part of your academic experience, and it's not your defining part, so don't get too hung up on that. So with that, some of the academic achievements that I listed was that I was able to get into a National Honor Society, so I put that down. I also put down that I was a vice president of membership for a club which focused on leadership, scholarship, and service. And some of the other things, if you apply to computer science awards or women in STEM awards, if you get to be a finalist or a semi-finalist, then you should include that on your resume, because that makes you look so much, you know, more unique and accomplished than maybe somebody else. Something else to consider, if you do research with a professor, or are you on a published paper for that research, that's definitely something you want to have on your resume, because it looks like, wow, they've done some legitimate work. And if an employer wants to learn more about that, they can even look up that paper and find out what it is, how crazy hard or amazing that project is that you worked on. So with that, on the academic achievement side, I put 1 to 2 bullets depending on how significant the achievement was. It's good to have wording like 1 of 85 students chosen for this award, or only the top 20% of students in my university get this award. So if you know, someone's reading your resume and they have no idea what the club is, and you just say, oh, vice president of this club, okay, well, you know, that might not be that expressive. But if you say that the club is about promoting people who do the best community service in their school, that gives whoever's reading the resume a sense of, you know, how strong that position was, and that, you know, you are now more valuable for having had that position or earning that achievement. Now, the 5th part of my resume is leadership and extracurricular activities. So for me, I was involved in different clubs in college, and for the case of my resume, the ones that were academic, I kind of put in the academic achievement side, but I was also involved in a dance group, and I was able to be the secretary of that dance group, so I was able to put that in the leadership and extracurricular activities. Again, I used a bullet point or two to describe what I did, whether it's For the secretary, I use the verb inform. So I was able to inform all of my fellow group members when events were taking place, and I was able to organize. Organize is a good strong verb. Organize the group and make sure things were done on time and that everybody felt like they knew what was going on so that more things can get accomplished instead of leaving things till the last minute and then they fall apart. I also included that I was involved in computer science club known as ACM. So for 1 year of college, I was the secretary of ACM, and I also was in charge of emails. So again, informing different people of the events going on. And I also organized PowerPoint presentations on different topics that we covered at ACM meetings. So depending on your balance between leadership and extracurricular activities, maybe you're an athlete and you could touch on that. You know, whether you're a really good team member or you're the captain, or maybe you do some sort of intramural sport and you have a strong position in that club and that brings something strong to your life. And if you feel like it gives you, you know, strong skills that you can talk on or explain in a meaningful bullet point, then I would consider putting that on your resume, because especially when you're in your earlier years of college, you may not be able to just have jobs and have like a professional category. So your leadership and extracurricular activities category may take up more of your resume, and that's okay. Because what a lot of these jobs are looking for and future applications, they're looking for someone who has a diverse background, someone who's well-rounded and can have skills in different areas. Even if you don't have loads of professional experience to have on your resume at the moment, it doesn't mean that you're not being a leader in other kinds of ways in your community or in your school or in your classes. So definitely think of leadership and extracurricular activities to add for your resume. Now, the sixth and final part of my resume is technical skills. And this is the category that I just list things. So this one is the least effort category, and I cater this category depending on what I'm applying to. So if you're applying to a specific position where you know they're looking for, you know, experience in a specific coding language, then this is where I would include that coding language. On my resume, the technical skills are broken up into coding languages and then software. So I have like Python and Java and Swift and a bunch of other languages. Sometimes I just kind of focus on the ones that are for that position, because there's like a double-edged sword where if you put your technical skills here, if you put too many of them and you're not prepared for a question on an interview for that, then you may end up, you know, digging yourself into a hole. So for me, it's not about listing all the skills you've ever had, but it's more about, oh, okay, like I know I'm applying for this position, and in the job description, they say they want experience with this software. So I've got to make sure that I put that in the resume, because if you don't include that on your resume, they might not even bother asking you for an interview if they have loads of resumes that do have that skill listed. So keep that in mind. You want to have the skills, you know, honest, because again, if you're asked to prove your skills on an interview, you should be prepared to do that. So you want them to be honest, and then also cater to a specific position or different strengths that you think whatever role you're applying to would look for. So with that, that was my 6 parts of a resume. I hope that my advice and tips have helped make this more clear and interesting. There isn't one correct way, one universal way to do a resume, but this is kind of how I learned to organize my passions, my different experiences in a logical and visually appealing way. And I also had to work with a career counselor to make my resume what it is today. Obviously, you can Google search good example resumes, and that's very helpful, but I also worked with a professional to, you know, make my resume where it is today and make it as something that I find to be very strong and something that I stand by. I will link more of this information in the description box below. Please check out my other college career advice videos. I am excited to share more videos with you in the future. This week I wanted to change it up and have an advice video on Tuesday because I missed my advice video last week. And then on Thursday I will be doing a video where I go over this makeup look. And then on Saturday I will be posting whatever I feel like. So thanks so much you guys for sticking around in this advice video. I hope you learned how to write your resume as a college student in 2020. Let me know what you guys think, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week, and I will see you very soon.